What is going on, EOP sports fans? Welcome into another edition of the Phightins Final. If you notice I'm a little out of breath, that's because I just got done doing a Sixers post-game show with our boy Dives, and we are just deflated with Boston in Philly on this Friday night. Two teams, both playing Boston teams, both lost, and just in not great ways. It's just I'm not going to sugarcoat it, ladies and gentlemen. I know you're probably like that game ended an hour ago. Sorry, it's hard to do two shows at one time. We want to keep you guys informed, but here is your Phightins final for tonight. Um, Phillies lose 5-3 to your Boston Red Sox. 5-game losing streak, might I add. Really to pile it on there for you. They lost their last game to the Astros, got swept by the Dodgers in a 3-game series. Then losing tonight made it 5-3, and it just we got above 500. Looked like this team found its way, and again here we are. It's just not. It's not pretty. I mean, there's a lot of things to look at here. Chris Wheeler didn't have one of another better nights. His pitching staff has really taken a step backwards. The scary part is where do we go if anybody gets hurt or somebody continues to struggle. Taijuan Walker, we saw him struggle. Aaron Nola struggled. Now Zach Wheeler struggled. We're sitting here hoping that Ranger Suarez is going to come back and make things better. But it's going to be hard to see where that happens at this point. Let's kind of look at it real quick, guys. I want to remind you that this show is brought to you by Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue in Ridley Park. Check them out, and especially on May 13th. It's Philadelphia Sports Day. That's right. Wiffle Ball Mania is back. Also supporting the Eagles Autism Fundraiser. Charlie Manuel, Mickey Morandini, the Phillies sports guy, Hollis Tank Thomas is there. That's right. The whole crew there and more. EOP will be in the house broadcasting, and hopefully you guys can come down and get in a nice intimate setting and meet some of these great ex-athletes as well as the Philly sports guy, and check out Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue in Ridley Park, just a couple exits of south of the airport in Philadelphia. So if you're coming from the city, Delaware, New Jersey, it's really easy to get to. Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue. So let's jump into this real quick. Let's go over the scoring for the Phillies. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry, my computer's being very slow tonight. Let's go to the top of the first. Devers singles to the sharp line drive into the right fielder to the right field. Scores. Tapia 1-0 Boston the first. You saw Zach Wheeler kind of struggle to get through the first, but they were able to hold it to 1. And then the second came around. Nicky Bats continues to be Nicky Bats. Singles to Tapia, and he gets the second. He gets, he gets the second and thrown out by Tapia, and it's 1 out there. And it's just, it was good to see because Chris Sales was literally sailing at the point. If you want to, he was sailing through that game, and he just it was hard to watch with that part of it. Like he's like, all right, he got a bat on him. He got a nice single. He tried to stretch it to a double. Tapia really played that ball well. Played the ball well, kept it from careening off the wall, and just threw a laser to second base. Got Nicky Bats out. Still 1-0 Boston. Justin Turner grounds out in the third baseman, and scores Yoshida, making it 2-0 Boston. In the same inning, Yoshida. I'm sorry, not Yoshida. Sorry, guys, my whole stuff's messed up here. Tapia scores, and then Yoshida scores, making it 3-0 in the third inning. But Phillies came alive with the offense in the fourth inning. Tied the game up 3-3. Starts with a double from Nicky Bats. And Harper scores after Harper got on base from a hustle play. This is why we tell these kids in baseball, hustle, hustle, hustle. You run out the plays no matter what. He looked like he was dead to rights at first. It was a little bit of bobbled playing it, getting to the first baseman, and he was able to score, or able to get on base, which allowed Nick Castellanos to step up, throw a double, or hit a double, and allow Bryce Harper to score, making it 3-1 Philly. JT triples Scoring Nicky Bats, the next one is 3-2 Boston. Alec Boehm singles, scores JT Realmuto, ties it up 3-3. And then it stays that way until about the top of the sixth inning when Duran scores for Boston on a sac fly, making it 4-3. And then the same inning, Hernandez scores on a Valdez single, making it 5-3, and that would be the only scoring you would see for the rest of the game, and that will be your final 5-3 Boston. So extending the Phillies losing streak to 5 games, and just making it real difficult right now to be a Philly sports fan, especially the Phillies to get behind them. Let's see, Walter, what do you got there? They are not the Phightins. They have no fight in them at this time. 2 on in the bottom of the ninth, and Schwarber and Turner strike out at the end of the game. And that's kind of a thing I was going to bring up here. The game got a little interesting at the end. It was 5-3, like Walter said. They had 2 on with 1 out, and Kyle Schwarber comes up, and he's kind of been the Kyle Schwarber. 2 guys who are struggling at the plate. I mean, Kyle much worse than Trey Turner. You were hoping that maybe one of them could get out of their funk and get the ball, get the game moving, get the ball in play. Didn't happen, and again, they blew a chance to take a lead or at least tie the game, and extend this game and make it more interesting, and hopefully pick up a much needed W. But Walter, yeah, it's the fight in some of these guys, and let's go over that. You brought it up, Kyle Schwarber, he was 0 for 5 tonight. It seems to be like his his MO anymore is 0 for 5. Trey Turner was 1 for 5. Bryce Harper was 1 for 4 with a run, and Nick Castellanos was 2 for 4 with a run. JT was 1 for 4 with a run, and Alec Boehm was 1 for 3 with a walk and a ribby. Oh yeah, Nick Castellanos had a ribby too. I forgot to mention that. JT had a ribby as well. Josh Harrison was 1 for 3. Bryson Stott pitched hit, and he was 1-0. Edmundo Sosa was 1 for 3, and Dalton Guthrie, who got the start at center field, was 0 for 3, and Brandon Marsh, who got the pinch hit, was 0 for 1. Or actually didn't even hit. I'm sorry, he was nothing. He got walked. He didn't hit. He got walked. And that is your batting stat line tonight for your, as Walter said, not so fighting Phillies. But guys, listen, this team can step up and come around. Maybe you still want to go see the Sixers play Boston, or you want to get some tickets now for the Eagles or whatever it is you want to do. You guys, we all here at EOP go to Sherry'sTickets.com, family owned and operated since 1946. Sports, concerts, theaters. So if you just you're tired of sports because they're not doing great right now, grab a great concert tickets, grab theater tickets. No hidden fees. You're not going to get bamboozled at checkout, and 10% off with the promo code EOP10. Let's get to the pitching, which is really, I know this team is struggling kind of all around, but this lineup will fix itself. Trey Turner is not a guy I'm going to worry about. Maybe we have to hold our breath till June for Kyle Schwarber to really come out of his shell. Nicky Bats is doing his thing. Bryce Harper isn't long here, and he's already doing his thing. Alec Boehm is, being captain consistent as always. It's kind of the tinkering of the lineup that's kind of something I want to talk about a little bit later in the game. But we'll get into that right in a little bit. But let's talk about Zach Wheeler. Went 5 1/3 innings, let up 7 hits, 4 earned runs, and 0 walks and 5 strikeouts. Not the greatest night for him. Again, starting pitching can't go at least 6 innings. Connor Brogdon comes in, finishes it up, going 2/3 of an inning, letting up 1 hit, and adding to the stat line of Zach Wheeler for the 5th run of the night. Gregory Soto came in one inning and struck out 1 and kept them no hits, no earned runs. And Andrew Vasquez, who's been kind of a nice little add-on here, he had two 2 innings, no hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. So, the bullpen wasn't so bad. Connor did his best to minimize the damage, but unfortunately, the Phillies can only muster up 3 runs in the 4th, and that was it. That's all they could do. And that's another problem is they can go hot and cold in a game, not even just in a series, but they can go hot and cold in the game and put up a bunch of runs in the first couple innings, and then bang, they can't produce nothing. So that is an issue, and it continues to be an issue for the fighting Phillies, or as I said, Walter said earlier, they're not so fighting Phils. But remember, guys, this show is brought to you by David R. Cherry, cherryinjurylaw.com, workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, criminal law. He will fight for your rights better than the Phillies and the Sixers fought for a win tonight. 610-565-0300, or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Again, talk to Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300, or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. As I said earlier, just looking at my game notes, looking at some of the things I wrote down here. Like I said, Chris Sales came out, pitching well. He struggled a bit, and you saw that in the 3rd inning. Harper, I kind of noted as the spark of the game, kind of got the offense rolling, and then told you about how it all kind of played out in the 3rd. But again, Wheeler struggles to go full 6, and lets up, just I don't know. I don't know what to do with this pitching, and we blamed the pitch clock. We blamed playing later into the season than everybody else, but the Astros, and made excuses. But at what point do we start to say, okay, guys, it's May now. You had a whole month now, and it looked like you guys started rectifying some things, and here we are again, below 500. Losing 5 straight in a row, and they even have a chance, like Walter said, 1 out, 2 guys on base, and you had 2 guys come up and strike out 1-2, and just put this game away for the Red Sox to give them the W, who have been much hotter as of lately. But what do we do with this pitching? Like, where do we go from here? Is Ranger Suarez an answer to anything? Like, does that help the Aaron Nola situation? Does that help the Zach Wheeler situation? You go 6 guys, you go 5-man rotation. Is more, do they need a little more rest in between? I don't know. Like, this team, it's struggling, and it's continued to struggle. And I want to say, I'm usually the optimist in this group of Phightins Finals hosts. I'm not, and I'm really not out of it. I'm like, this team's done. They suck. They're the worst. Blah blah blah. If anybody remembers last May, that's not an issue. But we can see how this plays out. But the Kyle Schwarber situation, like I said, Trey Turner, I think, is going to work himself out of this, and I think Kyle Schwarber can too. But at what point does batting 200 to 225, acceptable, at this point? Is he just a lovable character and people let him get by? Is it because he has, all or nothing kind of mentality and will put up 40 home runs? But the problem is, like, and again, I don't want to blame the skip, but it's the moving around of this lineup. Like, they put Kyle back at leadoff, and listen, I understand. They won to the World Series last year with Kyle in leadoff. You only lead off once, not once, but the odds of you leading, being the first hitter every time is not going to happen. So it only really matters in the beginning of the game. But you bring in Trey Turner, and you had Bryson Stott with the start that he had. I don't understand why we have Schwarber. Like, is this a good idea? Like, do you think this is going to help him generate hits? I don't know. I don't understand putting Schwarber back in the leadoff position. Turner needs to lead off. Schwarber needs to bat 6th. He is hitting under 190. Yeah, no. I mean, when I said 2 to 225 is because that, that's kind of his sweet spot. I don't think he's hit over that much as a Philly. Um, but I agree with you. Stott or Turner. I mean, in my if the whole team's out there, I have Stoddard Turner at one, trade 1 and 2. You can interchange those maybe if you want to worry about pitching matchups. Bryce Harper, you leave him at 3. Nicky Batts, the way he's hitting, leave him at 4. And then you have JT, Alec, and Schwarber. So do you put Schwarber at 5 or 6? And you can work JT and Alec and them in those positions. And I don't understand moving a guy up in the order when they're struggling. Trey Turner already was asked to take a night off and sit and DH and watch and just work your way out of this funk. But Schwarber just gets moved up in the order. I don't understand the thought process in this. Are the Phillies the same way? Are they just holding their breath till June and hoping Schwarber won't be that bad? I don't know, guys. Like I wish I had a better answer for you at this time, but I don't. I don't have a good answer. This team is, like I said, on a 5-game losing streak. Let's hope they can come back and maybe take this series because they need a series win. They need a win. Let's start with that. I'll start with just a W, but I need a series W too because that Dodgers series really put us back in a hole again. We were digging our way out, and here we are sitting, as I call, not so pretty. Let's look at the MLB scores real quick in going on in Major League Baseball today. But I want to, before we do that, I'll remind you that this segment is brought to you by PhillySportsTrips.com. Here's many of the football sports trips that are coming up this year. There'll be many more. They are to be determined until I think this Thursday coming up is when they announce the actual schedules for the NFL. And there's plenty other, if you're a Phillies fan, there's plenty of Phillies games coming up. You can go to Pittsburgh. You can go out to San Diego. You can go out to Wrigley Field. They're going out to Denver at the end of this month. So there's a lot of things at PhillySportsTrips.com. And I always tell people, it's not just a trip. It's not just tickets. It's not just a flight and hotel rooms. There's parties. There's ex-players. It's just so much. It's an experience, bar none. One of the best travel companies out there. I've been on many of their trips. You should go to PhillySportsTrips.com. Tell them EOP sent you. So let's look around the league, and then we're going to get back to it a little bit and look at the standings. I know it's May, Al. Why are we looking at the standings? We'll get to that in a second. But let's go around the lead. The Marlins lost to the Cubs 4-1 today. The Blue Jays beat the Pirates 4-0. The Rays beat the Yankees 5-4. The White Sox beat the Reds 5-4. We all know that. The Twins beat the Guardians 2-0. The Mets won against the Rockies 1-0 today. The Orioles beat the Braves 9-4. The Athletics beat the Royals 12-8. The Detroit Tigers beat the Cardinals 5-4. And for the games still in action as of right now, Rangers are up 3-0 on the Angels. Rangers are up 3-0 on the Angels in the bottom of the 7th. The Diamondbacks are up 3-1 on the Nationals in the top of the 8th. The San Diego Padres are up 4-2 on the Dodgers right in the middle of the 7th inning right now. And the Astros are up on the Mariners 4-3 at the end of the 6th. And the Brewers are up 4-2 over the Giants at the bottom of the 5th in San Francisco. And that is your MLB scoreboard watch for today. So, Al, why are we talking about the standings? Well, let's look at it. Not too long ago, this team was only about 4 games out, 3.5 games. I think we were at one point of first place. And we were just squeaking above 500. But now we're 7 games out. We're 4th in this in the division behind the Marlins, Mets, and Braves. And the only team that makes us look better is the Nationals, and they're only 8 games out, and they're 1 game out behind us. That's the scary part. Listen, again, I know I'm the one who says this all the time. It's May. It's early May, dummy. Calm down. Why are you getting all upset? There's certain parts about this team that I don't have the same feelings I had last year. Like, fine, I'll wait for Kyle Schwarber to hit June. We can kind of squeak by without him, maybe. Trey Turner will find his way. The pitching got us out of a lot of jams last year. Our bullpen did really well, and they started off well. Not as good as it's been as of lately. That's why I'm looking at the standings. This team needs to get some fight back in them. This city has had watched many teams make it to championships, but the Phillies, the Union, don't forget them, and the Eagles, and lose in the end. We need to get over a hump here. We all have high expectations for this team, and like I said, my inflection can change in a week or two. Let's be honest. I know that, but I really want to know what we're going to do with this pitching, and like, do they going to go out and get some pitching? Watching a guy like Chris Sales today, like just banging around. I mean, when he's on, and he barely hits that strike, and he just hits that edge of the strike zone, and he makes it hard for Bitter. He's not throwing anything down the middle of the plate. Now, there's times he's throwing things 10 feet above your head, but that's the kind of pitcher he is. The kind of power he has behind his throws. But I really think Dombrowski and them might have to go out and look for some pitching. Now, it's going to be hard to find at May 5th. Cinco de Mayo, man, we should have been out drinking margaritas, having games on at the bar, Sixers, Phillies, watching them. How funny is it to watch a Sixers game start at 7:30 and the Phillies game get done before that? Still hasn't gotten used to that yet. But it is a loss tonight, 5-3 Phillies. A lose to the Red Sox, and 5-game losing streak. So hopefully the Saturday and Sunday they can get that out and get past that and try to start making some headway. That would be nice to see. Of course, you got two guys above you lose tonight, and of course you can't make any headway on that. But guys, and there's going to be plenty of EOP going on this weekend alone. We are on Friday, and here we are Saturday now. Coming up. So tomorrow morning, not too far from now, another 9 hours, the boys over at Patterson at Fanatics will be starting your Saturday morning off with a little eggs, bacon, and Philly sports. Of course, the Phightins final will be tomorrow night as well. I believe, I think that's Pat. Pat will be, Pat Bernard, the Gobbler, will be hosting that one Sunday. Speaking of Pat Bernard, him and Mike Lauro back in the seat for Sunday morning, 9 a.m., p.m. in the a.m. All across all the time will be coming at an early time slot at 11 a.m. And then post games for both the finals and the Sixers. And I believe the Sixers are the Phillies are at 1 and the Sixers are at 3 or whatever, 3 whatever. So that means you'll have a Phightins final first and a Sixers post game to follow. Hopefully Sixers tying it all up, bringing it back to the Boston, giving us a little hope, and hopefully Phillies winning a series. It's just been a roller coaster ride. Unfortunately, we've been on the downslide of that roller coaster ride. But guys, that'll about do it for us tonight. I've had 2 post games. I'm exhausted, and then my son's communion in the morning, so I better get to bed before I get the stink eye from the old wife. So, but no, it's always fun to be with you guys tonight. Thanks to our sponsors, PhillySportsTrips.com, CherryInjuryLaw.com, DolansBar.com, and Sherry'sTickets.com. Great sponsors, all useful for you guys out there in Radio Land listening in. And they're going to take care of you. Tell me OP sent you, because then they know you came from some good people. So other than that, I'm Big Al. Phillies lose at 5-3. Let's hope they can snap it. We need some positivity in Philly. Negadelphia has gotten really bad. We need some Posidelphia. Let's go. Let's ring that bell tomorrow night. Bring it. Phightins final tomorrow. I want Pat Bernard with a W to talk about, and here we go.